All right, welcome everybody. This is Andy Smith, and I want to thank you for joining us for the fourth of a series of 5 webinars that we've been doing through the month of May and into June. Today's topic is going to be working with kitting tools in Counterpoint, and we have 2 speakers today, Matt Collins and Nell Thompson from our company that will be doing the presenting. 2 housekeeping matters. We encourage you to ask questions if there's things that you'd like to know. If you drag your cursor to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A, and you can type in your questions there. We'll try to answer as many as we can in the demo, and if we can answer a question, we'll follow up with you directly by email afterwards. Second point, we're making a recording of this webinar, and we'll make that available to all attendees and registrants. An email will go out either tonight or tomorrow morning with a link to how to access that recording. So without any further ado, let me introduce Matt and Nell, and you guys can take it from here.
Thanks, Andy. Welcome everybody to this webinar. We're excited to have you. My name is Matt Collins. I'm the CTO at Rapid, and I have been with the company for about 16 years now.
Nice. Thanks, Matt. And I'm Nell. I'm a project manager at Rapid, and I've been here just a little over 4 years now. All right, and to start with, we'll get into why we're going to use sales kits and bills of material. Then we'll jump into just a little bit of an introduction on sales kits, bills of material, and the production tool. That is part of the Rapid Garden POS-based system, but it can be added as a feature offering for other industries. Then we'll get into a live Counterpoint demonstration on sales kits, do a quick Q&A session, and some next steps for you.
So why do we want to use sales kits and or bombs? Several reasons. One is for marketing promotions, to be able to promote new offerings or packages of things to your clients as a compelling solution, to be able to upsell customers, to simplify the checkout process, to scan one thing and have it ring up several things. Also to show a level of business sophistication and present that as an outward image to customers to say, oh, they've got their act together. And also in the current environment with this pandemic, to be able to add value by kitting or packaging solutions and making it easier for customers to buy a final packaged product. And so there are a lot of details when choosing between sales kits and bills of material and the Rapid production tool. We know this is a lot of data, and so we've tried to consolidate it all here in this matrix, and you'll have access to this presentation and the slides later. We're not going to touch on all the details here, or this presentation would run way too long. So what we'll do is we'll focus in on some of the high-level aspects of this, and then as we get into the sales kit demo, we'll drill in on some of the very important things. One thing that really stands out is with sales kits, there are actually 3 different types of sales kits that we can use, and we'll let Nell go into a little detail on each of those.
All right. Okay, so when it comes to sales kits, we've got tagalongs, group tagalongs, miscellaneous sales kits. They're mostly similar, but there's just small nuances that make them different. We, again, have this bolded, so you can take a look at this in more detail. When we do get into the demo, we are going to really drill into some of these differences. Okay. Okay. And give me just a second, guys. We'll jump right in there. All right, so for our first sales kit that we'll look at, this is going to be a tag-along sales kit, and we'll add that. And we see here when we have that Victory Garden starter kit, it did just for that one item number, we pulled in all of these line items.
Good. And so, Nell, explain to us why the Victory Garden Starter Kit at the very top, the parent item, why does that have a zero price?
So in this particular case, we didn't want to charge a fee for compiling the kit, and we just wanted an easy way to group the items together. But if we did want to charge a fee for combining everything, we could put a service item into the kit, and that would show up as a line item, or we could also just set a price one on the kit itself.
Can I replace an item from the kit? What if I wanted to have 2 red bell peppers instead of a summer squash?
Yes, so substitutions are allowed on sales kits. So with the summer squash, I'm just going to void that line here. And when we get to our red bell peppers, I'm just adjusting our quantity to 2.
Good. So that's a tag along. Let's do an example of a group tag along.
Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, and so here we do have some conditions. So Matt, would you like it staked?
Yes, let's take that one.
All right, what about a trunk protector?
No, thank you.
All right.
Okay. So I see that based on my response, the staking service was added and the protector was not. But I also see a planting 25-gallon fee that was added, but we weren't prompted for that. Why did that get added?
Right. So with this group tag along, we can set certain components to be required. So in this case, when you buy the exotic plumeria tree, that planting is required, and then you do get a choice for staking or a trunk protector or a trunk protector.
Good. And looking at the display on the screen, I see that our first kit, the tag along, all the items are lined up. But on this second one, the group tag along, it looks like the items are indented underneath the parent item. Why is that?
Right, so all of the component items are grouped to the parent. So if we wanted to change the quantity or the price of a component, we would have to do that by updating the parent item price or quantity.
Okay. Similar to what we did on the tag along, can we change quantities on the staking service or on the planting fee?
Um, not without updating the exotic plumeria tree. What you can do, because that staking service is not required, that is something that we could remove from this group tag along if the customer changed their mind or we wanted to do that later.
Okay, so if I wanted to add another staking service, could I change the quantity to 2 there, or what do I need to do?
So can't change this one, but what I can do here is we can either add the quantity of 2 exotic plumerias with the planting and staking service, or if we just wanted the staking service and we're not buying the tree, then we can add that one separately, just like that.
Great. So that adds it just as a normal sale line, not associated with a kit. Fantastic.
You got it.
Okay, so let's show our third type of kit. Let's do a miscellaneous kit.
All right, and we have one. That is our sip and arrange workshop.
That sounds like a fun workshop. Oh man, looking at the details there, we've only got 1 glass of wine though for the whole workshop, huh?
You're right. That's not the way to keep our bev retailers in business, huh?
Good. So going back to the same question, can we do any substitution for this miscellaneous kit?
So again, with miscellaneous kits, no substitutions are allowed. In the case of this particular workshop, the stations are going to be pre-staged with flowers, and so we don't want to sub in anything.
Okay. I also, looking at the way this is displaying, similar to the group tag along, the component items are indented underneath the parent. But on this one, the components don't have an extended line price showing there. Why is that?
Right. So the one special thing about miscellaneous sales kits are that you set a price on the parent, and that price gets distributed among the components. So these are not necessarily the price ones if someone were to come into the store, but rather included within the workshop price.
So with the tag along and group tag along, the components get added to the ticket as well as their pricing. But for the miscellaneous, the individual components don't show the pricing.
You got it. Yep.
Good. Okay, well, let's have a look and see what this looks like on the receipt then.
Well, let's do it. All right, we're gonna pay for this in full, and let's take a look at the receipt in just a second. All right.
Okay, good. So just examining the receipt, we see similar behavior here as to what we were looking at on the touchscreen. With the first tag along kit and all of the items that tagged along behind it are just regular items on the ticket. The group tag along for the plumeria shows the items indented underneath it that were group tagged along. And then the miscellaneous kit with the sip and arrange shows the items that are part of that kit, but don't show any pricing on those. So that's good.
All right.
I see you added an extra glass of wine. That was
Just
nice.
one.
Good. So let's take a quick look at the setup of the sales kits.
Let's do that. All right, so that's going to be just under the inventory folder, and we've got sales kits right here. This is where we'll set them up. Shall we look at our first one?
Sure.
Okay. And so this one is our tag along item kit. And here we'll see all of the items. We add them down here and we can indicate a quantity, how we want that quantity method either fixed or changing with the parent. And then if we need any prompts for adding any of them.
Okay, and so the kit type shows tag along item, and that's grayed out because we've already set it up.
You got it. Yep.
And we've got it going there. The include parent checkbox, looking at that Victory Garden example, if we had not checked this box when we rang the item on the ticket for the Victory Garden, it wouldn't have put that $0 item up there. Just all of the tag along items would show on the ticket. Is that right?
Exactly. You got it.
Perfect. Okay, let's go take a look at our group tag along. Okay, so here, in a slight difference on the screen, right down below, we have a checkbox for required or not. And that only applies when we have a group tag along, where we can make an item required or not and allow it to be removed from the group tag along, or force it to be included.
Got it. So let's take a look at some of these line items here. This 25 one, you remember this one was required. But if we look at, for example, our staking service, down here we do have that component prompt, and this is what shows up on the screen for the POS user to either ask the customer or add to the ticket accordingly.
Good. And here we don't have to define what the buttons actually display. We just show the prompt, and it gives us the yes/no options on when it's being rung up on the ticket.
Got it.
Good.
All right, let's try for a third one.
Okay, so this is our miscellaneous. We notice that the include parent is grayed out and forced for a miscellaneous because that's what we're selling as the package price, and then all of the components just layer underneath it. And we can define different quantities for each component, just like on all of the kits. That's good. The one thing that we didn't demonstrate, but we'll make note of for all the attendees, is that if you have gridded items like shirts or other items that are gridded, you can specify a particular size and color of that shirt that you want to be included in a kit as well.
Yep.
Good, good, good.
Right. Shall we jump into bills of material?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So we've got step one for bills of material, right? One of the big differences between bills of material and sales kits is when quantity is taken out of inventory or adjusted. When it comes to sales kits, as you saw, you can set up the sales kit ahead of time, but all of it is depleted from inventory at the time of sale. When it comes to bills of material, this is something that you guys would put together ahead of time. And so the first thing we do is we set up our recipe. Okay. That is called our bills of material.
And the bill of material looks quite similar to the setup for a sales kit, where you define the component items and the quantity that would go into it.
Yep. And no conditions on bills of material versus sales kits, again, just depending on when they are assembled.
And so this is the quick assembly enter screen. So Nell was touching on how inventory is affected. This assembly allows us to say, I want to take these 3 bulbs out of my inventory, and I want to compile it into an arrangement. And now my arrangement is going to be the only thing that I have in stock. Those bulbs are no longer individual components. I wouldn't do a physical count on them. If I did a physical count, I would only count my arrangement item for this product. And so that's what the assembly allows us to do, is to say, okay, I want to make 2 of this arrangement and remove all those individual components out of stock and put those 2 into stock and put them out on the floor so I can sell them.
All right, and this is the view on touchscreen and receipts. So again, contrary to what we saw with sales kits, when you go to sell something that you assembled through the bills of materials functionality, what you have is just that final parent item that is being that's what you'll see in touchscreen, and again, that's exactly what you'll see on the receipt here as well.
So it's a bit similar to our miscellaneous kit in that we're charging a single price, but the difference here is that a miscellaneous kit would show all those component items on the ticket. So if you wanted the customer to see what all was included in that package, a miscellaneous kit would be the way to go. If you wanted them just to see the final package and the package price, then a bill of material would be the approach there.
You got it. All right, and then just a quick touch on the rapid production tool here. We won't dive in too much, but the difference between the production tool and bills of material, they are more similar. The main difference is with the rapid production tool, you do have the option to disassemble the kit, put everything back into the individual components, or replace components. If we use the example of a terrarium, you may want to replace just one plant that went into that terrarium. And again, this is just a view of that production recipe builder.
Good.
All right, any questions?
Yeah, we had one question first that was, can sales kits be configured to not show each item on the receipt? You may have answered that when you talked about bill of materials, but you might want to clarify that for the guests.
Yep. Perfect, Andy. You nailed it on the head. If we don't want to show the individual components of the kit, then we would switch to a bill of material in that case.
Right, and one thing to add there, with sales kits, you do have that option to not show the parent item. Again, that is just one item that would not be shown.
Okay, another question. Can you explain what the substitute items part was, and maybe even show that screen again?
Yes, so substitute items more with sales kits or?
Exactly.
Okay, so when it comes to substitute items, we'll take a look here. This was our miscellaneous. It does differ a little bit on the kit type, but with miscellaneous items, you can choose to substitute with any item. Choose if you want to do any sort of price adjustment based on, for example, price one or a different price level. Again, this defined substitutes refers to the item substitutions tab that you can set up for each item. Outside of miscellaneous sales kits, we know tag-along. Let's look at this one. We know tag-alongs do allow substitutions, but directly on the ticket itself. So that's not something you need to set up here. To get specific with what is allowed, that is want to do mainly through a sales kit.
And we also allow substitution on bill of material as well, which would come up during the assembly process, not at the point of sale.
Next question, Matt, when you're looking at a bill of materials assembly, is there a place where you can see what's available to make sure that before you assemble, the available quantities are all in-house?
Yes, you can. So just as you go to assemble the kit, you will enter in the quantity. Bottom, it will show you how much of component quantity is available for you to use.
Okay, we have another question came in. How about kits that are a mix of taxable and non-taxable items? And then a second question, can bill of materials be used for them?
Good questions. A bill of materials, since it's going to be a single selling item, it has to be flagged as either taxable or non-taxable. We can't say the bill of material is 40% taxable items and 60% non-taxable and try and do the math from there. It's an all or nothing on the bill of material. When we're looking at the various sales kit types, and this is something, these really good questions that you want to get in and play around with a little bit to see exactly how they behave. But when you're talking about a tag-along kit, all those are individual items, and so they would retain their taxable status just as they are. The group tag-along and the miscellaneous would take, again, we're selling the primary item at a single price point, and so it would take the taxable status of that primary item, the parent item. And a group tag-along, since it is a mix of items similar to the tag-along, the taxation would be per the parent and components would each have taxation on them based on the item settings.
But for a miscellaneous, it would roll up to the top item.
That's right.
Great. One other question. It seems the sales kits don't have the option for price adjustments. If you wanted to group together products or services, do you have to make a promotion to have it automatically discount at point of sale?
So, and that depends on the type of kit. If you were doing a tag-along, one option would be to have a discount item as one of the tag-along items to give an explicit discount as a line item. And similar for a group tag-along. The miscellaneous kit, you define your pricing at that parent item level, and if the sum of the components is $85 and you want to sell it for $69.99, then you just set the price one on that miscellaneous kit parent to $69.99, and that's the price that gets applied. But you could also set up promotion rules, promotion price rules if you wanted to do it that way as well.
Yeah, actually that creates kind of two follow-up questions. First, just to clarify, the discount line item would be like you set up an item in Counterpoint as a discount instead of an inventory or non-inventory item. You can set it up as a discount item. So it could actually just take $1 off the total package. right?
That's right. And so one clarifying point, we didn't dive too heavily into that matrix of sales kits versus bill of material versus production. But one of the things when you go back and review that, you'll see that sales kits can have any item type. So those can be inventory items, non-inventory items, discount items, as well as service items. So you might want to sell some labor in addition to a tree that you're selling for the planting charge, and that could be a service item, not an inventory item necessarily.
One thing I might ask you guys as well, if you set up a volume-based purchase, let's say something's on buy one, get one free, when you ring it up as a kit, if the quantity were 2, would it automatically take into account that buy one, get one free if, let's say, you're doing a tag-along?
If it was on a tag-along, yes, it should apply. But on a miscellaneous or a group tag-along, the BOGO pricing would not apply on the components.
Perfect. Any other questions from the group? I think everything that has been asked, we've addressed. And if there's any follow-up, certainly you can reach out to us. And we have a couple more minutes here. We can answer live or follow up by email. Let's move on to next steps.
Okay.
Good. So next steps. We had a webinar from last week about promotions in Counterpoint. We've had a couple questions about how BOGO pricing affects that. So if you're interested more in that topic, go ahead and take a look at our webinar from last week and see how promotions can tie into kits a little bit.
And next up is going to be to always analyze the performance of your kits. That way you can see how effective it is. We do have a free webinar next week that is focusing on how to get better reports out of Counterpoint. And that's going to be really helpful when you're analyzing this.
And lastly, go into Counterpoint. If you have a practice company, go in there and go crazy and play around and set up some kits and bills of material and test them out and push them live and engage your customers with them. And you know, if you're struggling with setup or if you need a little additional coaching, reach out to us at rapidcares@rapidpos.com, and we can do some one-on-one training or consultation to help you down this path.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you everybody for joining. Next week, you'll get a reminder about the 1 hour long advanced reporting webinar. This webinar will be available online, and thank you again for attending. And we appreciate you working with Rapid. Have a great rest of the day.